to do the ribbon cutting ceremony. Thank you, everybody. Good morning to you all, and a special welcome to invited guests, to trustees, directors, two of our founders, and to a lot of parents who've carved some time out of their day to come and join us on this incredibly historic occasion. It's a very exciting moment. Obviously, we know that the Astro has been played on and practiced on already, and that there are already a couple of really famous victories that will remain Bridge House legends for a long, long time. But the ritual is important. The moment where we stop and we ceremoniously open something that is really special, something that we waited for an enormous amount of time, is very important to do. And of course, we do want to fill up the dam so we can have the Bridge House Mile at the end of the year. And it seems that every time we organise an Astro opening, we get a bit of rain. So this might not be the last Astro opening of the year in order to try and get the Bridge House Mile to happen. I think it's really fitting that this is happening in our 21st year, where we've picked up the theme of keeping the dream alive. Because if ever there was a physical manifestation of a dream coming true, look around yourself. This is it. It's a magnificent place. It's fitting also, I think, that in our 21st year that we should ask one of our founders to say a couple of words and actually to hold a very special ceremonial scissors, which I hope you've got those scissors. To hand over to Tim Rands, our founder, who's been with us all the way through. And Tim has been really instrumental in getting us onto this campus, onto this piece of land, and driving a lot of the development that has happened here, resulting in this Astro behind me. There are a number of thank yous, but Tim will say some of those, and Gary will say some of those. But before we get into that, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to the Bridge House Sports Department, to Rian, to Steve, to Colleen, to Andrew, for the way they produced a sports program that's caused the kind of pressure and the excellence that's actually said, let's take this really seriously and put down a world-class facility. Not long ago, probably about 2 weeks ago, when we had our first practice on it, Jacques Leroux, the Springbok goalkeeper, ran a high-performance session with the boys, and he said to them, I want you to understand this. There is no Astro surface, there is no hockey play surface anywhere in the world that is better than this one. So you better get your game together. That's pretty motivating. I'm going to hand over to Tim. I'm just going to say a couple of words and then we'll have some words from Gary. But thank you everybody for being here this morning.
Morning everybody. Can we hear Mr. Russell, Mr. Malcolm, Mr. Barrett, staff, members of the EXCO, members of the board, members of the Educational Foundation, parents and pupils. I was asked to say a few words to a small intimate group of people this morning. So I'm a little bit surprised to see how many people are here, but the wonderful thing is to feel the excitement. And one wonders why there's more excitement in opening up Astroturf than opening up a new classroom. But it really is wonderful to see everybody here and to feel the energy. And it has been a long time in coming, but what you see in front of you here today is something of a triumph. Be careful. Shall we try again? Can you all hear me now? What you see here today is a triumph, and the result of a lot of hard work from a lot of people over a long period of time. And the question I've been asked this morning, and many times of late, is, did you ever envisage when you first started the school that Bridge House would have its own Astroturf? And the honest answer to that is no. I imagine that we could have envisaged perhaps all of these classrooms that we see up in front of us here. Perhaps we could have envisaged 3 or 4 boarding houses, and perhaps we could have envisaged 700 or 800 or 900 students. Although I think if you ask Susan, who's with me here today, she's shaking her head. No, we couldn't have imagined it. And perhaps we could have imagined even a maths and a science center or a Renaissance center, but absolutely not an Astroturf. This really is, for us, something of the cherry on the cake. And for you guys, I think it's a bit like being catapulted into the big league. Our focus over the last 21 years has been to build classrooms. Without new pupils, we couldn't grow the school, and to grow the school, you need classrooms, and frankly, that is what the banks want to hear. So on that basis, we've been able to borrow to build classrooms, but we weren't able to borrow money to build an Astroturf. Every time we got some money, we had to build some new classrooms. It's been a labor of love. It's taken more than 10 years from the time we took ownership of this property to us standing here today. Changes to legislation forced us to redo our EIA studies. There were problems with the servitude road with permissions from the farmers high up the road. And years were lost in the process. Johan and Gaynor Rupert very kindly helped us enormously with the leveling and the infrastructure so that the fields could get planted and the process could begin. However, even after that was done, we obviously still needed the funds for the Astroturf. Then along came the Wellham family with a debenture and a time limit. An act of great generosity and foresight, and the school community, the whole school community, is extremely grateful to them. When you do not have a body of old boys and old girls and generations of past students, as do schools like Bishops and Herschel, you need luck and generous parents. So thank you very much for that. On the staff side, I would like to pick out two people to thank, and that is Janice Christian and Rory Malcolm. Janice, who has worked tirelessly and ceaselessly on managing the money side, and Rory, whose endless enthusiasm and attention to detail has given us an Astroturf that, as Mike Russell pointed out, is one of the best, if not the best, in the world. And it's so good that we were able to beat Paul Jim in our first game. May it stay forever like that. And may you guys go out there and beat them all. I would also like to thank Standard Bank, who's come with the funds to enable us to finish the project. Despite the feasibility issues that one faces with a soft project like this, they have understood the value that it adds to the whole school and indeed to the entire Valley community. Their willingness to partner with us on the Astroturf, as well as on the final building phase of the school, and I say final in inverted commas because one's got to ask whether the school will ever have a final building phase. So to the bank, we say thank you very much. We appreciate it. And finally, I'd like to thank Peter Kraft. Peter phoned me and asked me to make this speech, and when I asked him why, he said, because you enunciate beautiful. But I'm not sure what he meant by that, but I'm trying. Peter took over from me 18 months ago as chairman of the Educational Foundation and has aggressively pushed ahead with this phase of the funding. We needed a brave new chairman, so thank you, Peter, for taking over the role and for driving this great school to even more greatness. I'm not sure at this stage whether I should cut the ribbon and say let the games begin, or shall we do that afterwards?
Do it now.
Anybody got scissors? We have a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay!
big thanks to Tim for opening this world-class venue here today. In part, the ceremony signifies the handover from the Bridge House Educational Foundation to the school of this amazing Astra. Did I mention it's world-class? On behalf of the entire school, I'd like to thank you, Tim, the founders, all the previous people that have served on the trust and on the board, and for the parents that have made this happen. I think it's we can only thank them for having the faith, the trust, and the determination to make this happen. This investment will be repaid many times over in the years to come through giving our children the best opportunity to achieve. And it's amazing how quickly this has happened. Even the board that we put up when we first started thinking about this and we were trying to raise funds, we weren't able to keep up with the thermometer. That's how rapid it's been. Tim has thanked a few people and some of the companies involved, but of course in a project such as this, there are many that were involved and many that we have to thank. Some of the companies that I'm going to thank today have been involved right from the beginning, from when the entire school was just a piece of farmland. So I'd like to acknowledge the following: Sun Sport, Strava Civils, Integrate, Holding Projects, Wineland Civils, Gibb, Illich and Abramser Land Surveyors, Richard Rosting Architects, Doug Jeffrey and Associates, Servest, Nelia Smuts, our school accountant, who has done many projections on different costing profiles, the entire Bridge House Sports Department, Kees Nordier, who heads up the finance portfolio for the board, parents who contributed to Ken Kenzie Quick's brick campaign, Carol Day and the team of dedicated parents and friends of the school that contributed to the recipe book and the fundraiser for this. Every little bit has counted and made it possible for us to be here today. So on behalf of the school again, thank you very much. And Tim, I'm going to hand back to you so you can start the game.
Let the game begin.